Page 78, Chasin the Blues. It's the first piece in chapter 5. Moving on. And again, if you're confused, you don't understand, or things aren't quite working out, this is a good time to go back and start the book again, review all the lessons, review all the videos, review everything, play through everything to make sure you understand before going on. I'm going to pretend you're ready to go on, so let's go on. Look the piece over, let's see what we get. It is about a page and a half long, more or less. Treble and bass clef. No sharps or flats in the key signature, so it's probably in C major or A minor. However, it's a blues piece. It could be a blues scale. Look at the end, and we got this mess going on. And we got all kinds of combinations of things, but the fact that we're ending on a C tells me it's probably in C major. However, it doesn't matter because I'm going to do the scale for C major and A minor both. Just make sure I can do those okay. Now, if you've been doing the scales like you're supposed to, then you should be doing them 2 octaves up and down by now. If you haven't been doing the scales, forget the 2 octaves. Just learn the scales first. Try and get them under your fingers where you're feeling them. And you're not having to look at the keyboard. You can feel these scales. Stick with 1 octave until you're comfortable with it. And it's in common time, or 4/4 time. If you look at the first measures, there's only 3 quarter notes in it. So it's a pickup measure. It's an incomplete measure. We're coming in on beat 2, which means beat 1's got to be somewhere else. And if you look at the end, the bottom of page 79, that's beat 1 in that measure, all by itself. Got a lot of accidentals, which I would expect accidentals in blues or jazz. Take it one hand at a time, make sure we understand what's going on. The rhythm, for the most part, shouldn't be too hard. They're mostly quarter notes. So the right hand is here, look at here, in the first 3 notes here. So you're kind of in this position to start. It's 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Measure 4, same thing, but now in E flat. The measure 8, you come up here, this position, and then here, now 4, because we got the E flat G, and both of those E's are E flats now because they're in the same measure. Remember, the flat sign applies for the rest of the measure, and then measure 12, you're back down here. Measure 17, well, just take it, you got an F sharp, F natural. Of course, the next measure is an F natural because, again, those accidentals are only good for that measure. And then next measure is F. So they have to give you another flat sign on the E flat, otherwise it would be an E natural because it's in a different measure than the first one. And measure 21, little finger, don't know why, but it is. Okay, and then here, and then let's look at the end. Last 2 measures. You got all these notes tied. We're finger pedaling the notes. Finger pedaling is when you're holding the notes down longer than you normally would in order for them to sound out, which is one of the things the pedal does. Because I could just do it here. I mean, it's just a broken D chord, but I'm holding them down to hold them. See, I'm finger pedaling them. Now, so why finger pedal them if you're using the pedal? I'll come back to that later. Stick around. Left hand. Well, they give you this boogie bass line, and this is just one of many. There's different boogie woogie lines, and this is just here. You're kind of in this position. A lot of them, you just do it over and over. Here, you get rests in between them. Measure 5, you're up here. Back down here. Measure 9 up here. Moving around some. Well, let's look at that. At the beginning, when the left hand plays, this is really a 1 chord. It's a C chord. We'd call it a C6th because we're adding the 6th step of the scale to the chord, the A. We're not using the middle note. Actually, it's in the upper staff, but it's a 1 chord, 1/6 really. But then when you get to measure 5, you come up That's a 4 chord. 4C. Back to the 1 chord. Measure 9 is a 5 chord, then a 4 chord, then a 1 chord. See, there's a chord progression going on here. Very common in blues. Now measure 17, excuse me. We have this thing. It's a G, a B, and that top note is an F. It's 1 note above the 2nd ledger line. Well, 1 ledger line is C, 2 is E, and that's right above it, so it's an F. Okay? And then the next chord, well, that is an F, an A, and an E flat. If your hand doesn't fit up here, you got to do that. But if your hand fits, do that. So you're going from here to here. You got to know where those notes are. The feeling is a little bit different with the hands. Try and get them down at the same time. I don't know. And then measure 21, it's an E, a G sharp, and a D. So we're just kind of coming down. And then going on, measure 23, it's a D, F sharp, C. Ooh. Now the last, 4 measures or so, it's starting with a whole note in the left hand. You're here, and that's tied all the way to the last measure. You're just adding the B flat to it. You can use 2nd finger if you want, otherwise thumb. And both of those notes are tied all the way till you get to the quarter note. And then that last quarter note is a C with an 8V8 under it is there. Way down there, if you have the note. Otherwise, play the lowest C you have. Then we put the hands together and make sure you're lifting up in the right hand for the rest. You put the hands together and then go back over it slowly and carefully and get rid of any hesitations. Any hand moves you got to make sure they're done so the beat goes on. And then I think about the articulation. The short staccatos, the hands at the wrist. Here. Now, look out. This is the 2nd full measure. The left hand doesn't get a staccato. Here. So you're here, but not here. The left hand comes up when you play that. Then once you're sort of comfortable with the articulation, then we'll think about the dynamics. This is mainly the right hand, but you can bring out the left hand. You don't have to bring it out too much because down here, it'll just come out on its own. Mezzo forte is sort of loud. I prefer to keep this soft because it'll come out anyway. Measure 6, you go up to loud. Moderately soft. Moderately loud. Measure 17, it's more the right hand is loud. The left hand, keep it in the background. Let's talk about this rhythm there on the 3rd line on page 79. Starting with measure 21. You just count this out carefully, slowly. 1, 2, 3, rest, and then connect it. Here. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. 2, 3, rest. Then at the end, moderately soft at this is the coda, the last line. Now you're soft, very soft, both hands. Very soft, and hold all those notes down because they're all tied, and you keep holding the right hand down. You just go down and play the last note with the left hand, and then both hands come up. Okay, that's sort of the dynamics. It's better to get into it and start feeling it, feel these dynamics. Feel these staccatos and things. Well, the speed. Con spirito. I can't say the word. I'm not going to try. Just did. Didn't work. It's happy. This is a happy blues piece. Whatever you think that is. Now this pedal at the end, let's talk about that briefly. Normally I would say don't use pedal at the end if you're not going to use it somewhere else. But in blues, it's kind of the style of the music. We want to color out all the overtones at the end. And that's what they're doing. Push the pedal down right after you play the note. And lift the pedal with the hand at the end. And that's the pedal. I'm not going to show it if that's all they're doing. You can do that. Remember the natural accents? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Bum, 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 bum. Feel the natural accents. So go up to here. Once you get into the music, you start feeling it. If you feel a little bit of slower or faster some places. Now the road map, where are you going where? Because it's just not straight through. If you look at page 79, the third line down at the end, it's measure 24. There's a DS all coda above it. DS means go back to the sign. The sign is over here on page 78. It's at the beginning of the first full measure. It's that weird looking thing. You go back to there. The coda sign, the circle with the crosshairs, that's at the top of page 79 at the end of the first line. It measures 15. When you get to that point, you immediately jump down to measure 25 and just keep going. So the beat is a steady beat all the way through. Yeah. On this last few measures here with the whole notes and half notes, in my opinion, you could slow that down. You want to milk that a little bit, just slow down a little bit, milk all that sound. You're just building up all these notes together, and then right when you play that last note, it's over. Don't hang on to it at the end. When you play that note, it's done. Let's play it together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any of the louds and softs. So I'll do the staccatos and we'll do the DS and all that stuff. So I'll give us 5 counts. 4 counts because it's common time, and then 1 more count because we come in on beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Three, 4. 4, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1. To the sign. 3, 4, 1,